Okay, we're up here on the Miami Lakes Ale House, and we're doing a system. It's called the Uniseal. It's by GAF, and basically we put a reinforcement fiber on each one of the seams, down each seam, side seam, and basically what you do is you put the Uniseal down as a base coat. You put that down a full, nice thick thing, and then you put the fabric in there, and then you go over the top of it nice and let it dry, and then you come back and you coat the whole system. You coat the whole system, and then you put the you let that dry for a minimum of 4 hours, and then you put another top coat. The two thicknesses together is about a 40 wet mils, which would dries to about a 26 mil as a dry. So I have one bucket here, and this right here, what we're looking at is 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. It's right at 20 foot from line to line, and it's about 30 foot. I walked it off here from that PVC pipe to this PVC pipe. So, and we're gonna see how far it goes in a bucket and how long it takes to do a lap. Okay, the way I'm starting out is I put a nice thick coat. You don't want the roller to start rolling a lot. You're kind of just pushing it. When you're doing the first coat, you're pushing it. Now just lay that down, and you see how it's actually starting to saturate through there? That's what we want to see. We want to see the saturation from underneath coming through. You don't want it dry to where it's not sticking. And then don't try to go a long stretch at a time. Do a section like that and then coat it again. Okay, see this now saturated back through it again. And this is on the seams. This is for any open seams. And then I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm going to actually, what I'll do is I'll take 2 rolls at once. That way my bucket, I don't have to move it a lot. I'll get it a separate roll, and I'll start it right there going that direction. Okay, so now this is what I've done is basically what I'm doing is using the length of my handle. The length of my handle, the bucket was set here. So that means my handle goes that far, this far. That way I only have to you move the bucket, twice. Okay, so now it's halfway in between here and there. I'll swing this way, and then I'll swing back that way once I get my roll back up there. This is what we want to see. We want to see completely saturated, especially on the laps. If you have any excess like that, you don't want any spots. You want to rub that out because it'll transfer through to your system. That's what we want right there. Okay, two runs, approximately 31 foot, applied correctly, used almost a half a bucket. So we got 60 feet, a half a bucket, 120 linear foot roughly per bucket. Hot day, granule surface, it's 80 some degrees. Okay, there's where we're at this point right now. That's one bucket. I got maybe enough to do one more lap in this area. So one bucket, it takes one bucket, I guess, to do 5 square just with the laps. So his numbers on one bucket covering 5 square worth of roof, I don't think that's going to work out. We'll try here in a little bit. I'll let this dry for the 4 hours or whatever, and then I'm going to try to do this one section, which, like I say, it's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. It's about 23 feet, 21 foot, something like that. We'll just call it 20, and it's 30 long. So we'll see what one bucket comes out to. Okay, right now they're still, they're working on all the laps. David's doing all of the wraps, basically around all of your penetrations and stuff like that. You have to, you go up 6, out 6 with the 12-inch fabric. You know, you put a healthy coating of the Uniseal, put the fabric, then another coat over it, and then that will still get 2 plies later after everything's dry. So the first thing you do is always trim out the building. You know, don't try to do all your flat and then go back. Just do all your trim, do all your curbs, all your flashings, all your laps, get all that done. And then, because you know this stuff has to dry good, if you go to try to roll back across this and that's sticking to your nap of your roller, wait. You need to wait. That needs to be dry. You should, if you go over there and you touch it, if you touch it with your finger and it's still tacky and comes off, just let it set. It needs to set more. It needs to dry. You know, trying to hurry a job is not going to give you a good job. You know, just let it set like it needs to. Like right today, they're going to do their best, which is already 2 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon. They're going to do their best to try to get all of these seams, curbs, everything, so it can dry overnight. But then again, also, you want to remember that whenever dusk is coming, you know, you want to stop. You want to stop at least an hour and a half to 2 hours before dusk, because once the sun goes down, it doesn't set and cure as well. And if you get any kind of dew or anything starting early in the night, fog, you know, it's going to make problems for you. So, you know, just always schedule starting after it's dry in the morning. So you're going to have to figure a little time in extra for these guys. This one here is probably going to tie up 4 days. That's with the cleaning and installing. And it's, you know, under 100 square with, you know, a lot of details. There's a lot of details on this roof. But that, just for the estimating aspect of it, that's, you got to figure a crew, you know, a 3-man crew, 4-man crew, you know, 4 days. Just go ahead and figure 4 days. Okay, this is the next morning. We're into the 3rd day, which you know, you always have to allow for the dry time. You know, obviously this here, you know, it's hell, it's going on 9 o'clock and the roof's still wet. You know, they're trying to blow off anywhere of this ponding or anything like that. We have, you know, most of the grid out. Still got to finish along that wall there. And we got these little areas here. So there's still some area that we have to do the seams, you know, doing all the laps. So we probably have, I don't know if it's going to be done Saturday, honestly. I mean, obviously the top coat, the base coat over this here will go faster than trying to do all these seams. But, you know, if it doesn't dry till 10, you know, 10:30 in the morning when the sun gets up and over that little guy there, and hopefully we don't get a cloud popping in the way, you know, maybe we can get, you know, get these sections here done, you know, because they got a pitch to them, and, you know, if you look close, though, you can actually see, you know, the droplets of water. So if it's there too. You just don't see it as much. And in order to put a good system, I mean, this thing has to be dry. You can see the sheen when I turn the camera that way. You can see the sun glistening off of the water. Do not try to coat over that. This is a solvent base. This is not a water-based product. Solvent-based products will not adhere. They will skim on top of the water. So, oh, he didn't get all the way up in here either. I thought David told him to get this section ready. Anyway, you know, got a little moisture on that guy there, but I think the steeper parts we can go ahead and get done out of the way. I don't know if this is going to run into Sunday or Monday. I don't know if the guys want to just go ahead and stay here and finish Sunday and maybe take Monday off. I'll have to talk to David, because uh-oh, got some on the wall over there. Okay, we're starting on the first coat on here. and which, you know, they're installing a heavy coat on the first one. The second will come back a little lighter. Basically, you don't want you want to be able to see right there, see how it's got like a little bit of it's putting like a wood grain to it. You want to see at least that amount of paint. Nice. Yeah, don't try to make it nice and heavy. You don't want to see no holidays. You don't want to see the rubber underneath. And yeah, that looks good. Okay, back on the third day here. The guys are working on the wall. David, it's dried up enough for him to start going back to his fabric. He's going around doing all the embed around all the units, putting the base flashing. He's got his two guys over here on this section of the wall that was dried. They're going ahead and put the fibered added to the material. So basically what you have is you have a ground up fiber, almost the same thing as the mesh that we use. It's a powder substance like this. And if I can get it open here. Okay, what you got is just a ground up fiber. Okay, what you do is you mix about a quarter of the bucket to 1 pail, and that's for like the steep sections because you don't want the paint to run down. And then also we'll go to about 1/3 of a bucket because that's what we'll use, so you don't have to try to wrap wrap the fabric around this. All these legs right here with that fiber in there, all we'll have to do is coat around each one of those, twice of course, with that fiber in there. And that will take care of the hard areas. Okay, this is the one where they have the first coat on with the fabric. Make sure that you have you have eye protection, because this here it actually burns your eyes, the UV rays, because this reflects so much of the UV rays. You want to make sure that the guys wear the proper eye protection, because if not, at the end of the day or at night, their eyes are going to be burning so bad that it's just not good. Okay, we're at 140. Got a bunch of the legs done. I think he's got all the trim in. He's got the steep parts, 2 of the steep parts done. He has there's 2 more steep parts that he has. He's got the laps done. They're doing the second one now, so he's almost to the point where we're going to start painting. We have 50 buckets basically left, 49, and it's roughly 76 square. We're fixing it. I'm going to have him here in a minute go ahead and paint this one area that we had talked about, because that's the one that's it's 20 by 30, so that'll give us a 6, and we'll do that area and see how many buckets, because if I'm gonna have to get it, I'm gonna have to get it before they close today, because it is a Friday. So we're gonna fall back and do this one section right here. Okay, we're back to this one section that I made a grid here. It worked out to where 1 bucket. Now this is the first coat. This is the first coat here, which you can still kind of see granules through it or whatever, but there's no holidays. So 1 coat did basically 3 square of a bucket. He told me they would get almost 5, which I knew he wasn't. Maybe on the second coat you can get 5, but on the first coat, just as we're figuring the jobs, I would figure 275. 275 a square on the field over the granule, and 200 feet per bucket of the 6-inch strip, and about the same on the 12-inch, because the 12 you're using a brush, and it went a little further. So just in the figuring, Like I say, it took 180 feet basically of strip per one bucket, and then also then doing the field, it took one bucket, did 3 square. Okay, on the legs like this, which I might already said this earlier in the thing, what we did is you don't have to put the fabric around it. What you do is mix, the fabric inside and just put a heavy coat, and then again when you come back, do it again, and it has the fabric right in it on all the like the pitch pans, the wraps like that. If the pitch pan is concaved, then we have a pourable sealer. They make their own product, GAF, but he told me that they didn't have it in the tubes. So I wanted the tubes, so they sent me a bucket. But basically, once you open this guy, you're throwing the rest away. So, and there's no need for a whole bucket just to top off the few little pitch pans we had. So, so we can either get the tubes of this, or just use the GAF pourable sealer. The pourable sealer in the top of the pitch pans, which will be fine. Okay, so on the first coat, it did work out to where it took 2 full buckets to do this area, which, obviously this roof's been patched a bunch of times, this is not a new roofing system. This is a coating. This is a 5-year coating over the top of an old system. I made it clear that this roof probably should have been re-roofed 7 years ago. I've been taking care of it that long. But it does work out to where in that 6 square area, 6 square right there, it took 2 buckets for the base just to put the one. So, and then on the top coat, it's probably going to take a little less, because obviously your top coat is not going to absorb as much down into the granule. Okay, now we're actually installing, the base coat over the top of the strip and stuff. He's started up here in the corner, the places that's going to be wet in the morning. He's going to try to get those places tonight, so he doesn't have to wait so long in the morning to get started in the area. We were using the 3/4 nap 18-inch roller, but honestly, the 3/4 nap 9-inch roller seems to be working better. Don't know if it's just because of the fact of the cover is more of a flexible, because that one there, even though it says 3/4, it doesn't absorb as much paint. So he's actually moving faster with a 9-inch and getting a better coverage than we was with the 18. We'll have to see how the numbers come out on the paint. We'll do another calculation here in a little bit. But he's got the other 2 guys down here working because of where the wall is. He wants to try to get that, because in the morning when the sun, when the sun comes up around this way, that wall right there is going to stay damp. So he wants to try to get all that coated tonight, so he gets a better start tomorrow. What we did on these pitch pans, any of them that was that was concave, basically down like that, he topped them off with the the GAF pourable sealer, and then he'll coat all around that with the fabric Uniseal. So it's getting pretty close. It's starting to look like a different system here. When they do all the details, of course, they'll dress those guys up at a stopping point, nice and pretty. That unit over there, they'll square that off, and yeah, it's coming pretty good here. These guys here, I think today they'll have at least 40 square of it coated today. At 4:30, guys are still at it. Got it all the way coated. Looks like they're almost going to get to their 40 square today, coated in. Go around this way and see what we got. We got David coming around this side. Those two guys that have that all filled in there. Yeah, I think if it gets to this fan right here, if it gets to that fan straight across, about where the buckets are at, that's 40 square. So I think we're going to be in good shape. Good looking system right now. Okay, this is Saturday. It's roughly 10:30 in the morning, and we got a little rain in the night last night, and it's still not dry. So at 10:30 in the morning, still not dry. So make sure we account for that. Any rain will definitely prolong the, you can see the moisture there. It's just, like I say, it's almost 10:40 right now. This all has a single coat. The walls there where they're steep enough, those are dry. They're getting those coated up there. We still have, this much to do the first coat on, and then the second coat on the whole thing. So it's definitely going to go into tomorrow.